The race for the Stage 3 finals is already on fire. 4 spots are up for grabs with Uprising, Valiant, Excelsior, and Shot currently in. Can they stay there in Week 4?
Absolutely crazy. I can't believe it.
Former teammates, now enemies, will Gesture and the Spitfire get their revenge against Fissure and his LA Gladiators?
Shields up and the Gladiators have won the series.
We get to know Mayhem's newest DPS, Saya player, and how he prepares for his matchups.
오늘 경기가 딱 잡히면은 그 팀에 있는 히트스캔 선수에 대해서 특징을 좀 파악하거든요.
Plus, Malik hangs out with Excelsior's Arc as they discuss why the NYXL are taking it easy right now.
We have some gaps between the number 2, I guess. So we're not feeling that much pressure about it.
And we look at headlines from the future.
Monty, are you buying the headline?
No.
This is Watchpoint.
Welcome to MLG's Watchpoint, everybody. It's Puckett. I'm with the boys. We got Monty, Doa, and Mr. X gearing up for Week 4.
Yeah, you missed
so
one
where
of
were
the
you?
best weeks of Overwatch League that we've had.
I watched it from my hotel in Seattle. It's
Sure you
fantastic. Nice job,
Yeah,
by the way.
yeah.
Appreciate that. All right, so let's get right into it as we get geared up and set for Stage 3, Week 4. We'll begin with the battle between 2 season-long powerhouses. That, of course, is the Seoul Dynasty, who will be taking on the first-place NYXL on Saturday in a matchup that could have been our season finals. Now, Seoul is just 3-3 this stage, and the NYXL appear to have taken their foot off the gas lately. So, Monty, what's the biggest variable for you in this one?
I don't know if we can even talk about Seoul Dynasty being necessarily a powerhouse anymore with their current form. 4-6 in their last 10. Only wins against the bottom of the league, I'm sorry to say, Mr. Doa. But I think for me, it's going to be Mono versus Jonas as to who New York plays, which sounds weird that this is the biggest, I think, affecting player roster change in this matchup because Jonas has caused the NYXL to go for a bunch of reverse sweeps recently when he's been taken out. You see the difference in map record, Mono 13-3. Now, I do think that they're intentionally playing Jonas in this style to expand their aggressive strategies, but it's not winning games for them.
The NYXL have gone to 5 maps in 4 straight matches. One guy who has helped them in the second half of those matches is Pine. Now, Mr. X, how do you see this Widow battle shaking out as we see Pine taking on Fleta?
Look, I think Fleta is one of the better Widowmakers we have in the league, but I think Pine may be the absolute best. Every time he comes into these series, whether it's game 1, it's game 3, game 4, it doesn't matter. I mean, he just puts on a show every time. I think the craziest thing about Pine as a Widowmaker player is that, like, a lot of other Widowmaker players in the league play it pretty safe. They're a little bit easier to predict where they're coming from. Pine doesn't care. He's flying through the air with a grappling hook. He's challenging stuff you don't expect him to challenge. It's unpredictable to play.
Pine goes where Pine wants to go. All right, well, Fleta actually has the fewest deaths per 10 minutes of any Widow this stage, but Doa, what can the Dynasty make improvements on to have better chances this time around?
All right, here's the thing, and I'm really going to try to do this without any sort of bias, but he is one of my favorite players in all of Overwatch. But put Jae-Hong back in. I don't know what's going on with Seoul, but you got to put this guy back in, all right? He's better than Guido statistically in nearly every category. Guido leads him in offensive assists and healing done, but Jae-Hong is still very close on that one. And while Guido does have good plays from time to time, and he is a good, more defensive Zenyatta, Jae-Hong is the playmaker. He is the guy who's getting kills. He can take the 1v1s. He is hitting the shots that pushes Seoul over the edge in a lot of their games. They need to put him back in.
Doa loves Jae-Hong. What's new here on Watchpoint? Now, Seoul has gone 1-1 each week of the stage so far, and they'll need to pick it up if they want to make their first stage finals. Now, one team that is longing for the days in the Stage 1 finals is the Houston Outlaws. On Wednesday, they'll take on an LA Valiant squad looking to bounce back from their first loss of Stage 3. Doa, what's the biggest question mark for the Valiant right now?
I think the biggest question mark for the Valiant right now is have they kind of plateaued here? Where can they go from here? They've had these new additions come in. Space is looking great, Cuss is looking great, obviously Bunny's looking great. So the additions are working, but they haven't necessarily played the strongest teams in the league right now. They've got a lot of tough ones up ahead of them. So the question is, can they sort of take it to that next level and go from, a good team in the regular season to a team that's capable of, winning a stage, which right now, I don't think they're there, but I'm going to be curious to see if they can kind of pick it up over the next few weeks.
You mentioned the Valiant brought in Bunny for this stage, and he leads the league in limbs per 10. He also is looking great in a number of other categories. But Monty, is he the best DPS in this matchup?
I think Bunny is a very interesting player in that he can go on these solo missions and pick up support kills, but a lot of the reason why he looks good is because he's good against less coordinated teams that aren't protecting their backline. Now, if we're going to look at other DPS players, a lot of people will come into this one saying Linkser is going to be the best Widowmaker. But if we take a look at his Stage 3 stats, most worryingly, his title as the best counter sniper in that last statistic, which is kill-to-death ratio in Widowmaker duels, has dropped to under 1, which means he's getting killed by enemy Widows more than he's killing them. That is not in line with what we saw from him in Stage 1 and Stage 2. I think it's going to be Soon that is going to be the best player. Soon may not be playing the Tracer anymore, but he's really leveled up on the Widowmaker and has been impactful with Bunny. And I will say with Bunny, he provides so much chaos in the backline that it's opening up a lot of room for Soon to hit these headshots. But look at that flick right there. That's just ridiculous.
They complement each other pretty well. I like that. Now, Houston is currently in 8th place this stage with a 0 map differential. So, Mr. X, do you think the Outlaws can make a run here in week 4 and 5 and potentially see themselves in the stage
I'll
final?
say this. I think the winner of this match actually finds themselves in the stage playoffs. I think when you look at their remaining schedules for both teams, if the Valiants were to lose this one, they'd be in trouble. You maybe get that one win over Florida and you finish the stage 1 and 3. I think if Houston wins this match, they have a realistic chance of running the table. The rest of their matches are not too difficult. I think this is really the one obstacle standing in their path.
Yeah, Valiant, I think, still has a better chance because they're not playing New York this stage. Sure. But I do think that this matchup in particular is very important for both of these teams if they want to end in the 7-3, 6-4 range that's going to qualify them for the stage playoffs.
What we got to hope for is that Valiant makes it to the playoffs, and then they have to play New York, so we get to see that match.
I like
That's
that.
what I
like that.
All right. Well, the Valiant beat Houston 4-0 in their only matchup so far this season, so we'll see if they can do it again on Wednesday. But Thursday is where we could see some of the most intense matches of the week as Fissure and the Gladiators take on the London Spitfire. Now, Fissure got revenge on his old team with a win in Stage 2. But Mr. X, what is the biggest strength for LA against London this time around?
I'll say we've been talking about how good the supports are on the Gladiators and Fissure as well. I actually think Bijou has leveled up his play from Stage 2 into Stage 3. I know all of his stats across the board. He's been a clear upgrade from Stage 2 to Stage 3. You see his Diva final blows in Stage 3, second in the league. I think him and Fissure make a great tank combination. And then I also think his ability to translate when they have Asher in the game for Fissure and then Fissure to the rest of the team. And, to keep his level of play up and able to do that is so difficult. I think he's a huge asset for this lineup.
Keep Bijou over Void? Ever throw the new guy in?
I mean, I think Void has a pretty good Zarya. We haven't seen Bijou play a ton of other off tanks other than Diva, so I think that's probably where Void would fill in. But I think Bijou at that point is still needed as like a translator or a gap between the players.
And shot caller too, because we know he does that.
I like that call. All right, the Spitfire have been shaky, but they can actually pull ahead of the Gladiators in the stage standings with the 4-0 win. So Doa, what could the X factor be for them in this matchup?
I mean, I almost think it's not really an X factor, but it's just Surefour, right? I mean, this guy has gotten so incredible lately, especially on that Widowmaker. The highlight reels that he's been putting out, that match against New York, yeah, they lost it, but it was down to the wire, and he was probably, I think, the biggest factor on his team in terms of getting them that close to beating NYXL. His Sombra is also very good. His Tracer actually looked really good in that match. So I think if anyone's going to make the biggest difference, it's going to be Surefour.
Yeah, I think Surefour is a really interesting player, too, because obviously he came into Overwatch League with a bunch of hype. He was one of the most famous players before OWL started. And now we're seeing a real resurgence from him where he's blown up on this Widowmaker all of a sudden, is suddenly one of the best Widows we have in the league.
And you got to remember, when he's picked up for this team, he's not even supposed to play the Tracer role primarily, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be Asher all the time. But you see Surefour playing some Tracer. You see him playing, McCree, 76, Widowmaker. So I think his role's even more expanded than he originally imagined. He's playing great.
The hit scan superhero. Well, speaking of hit scan his tracer. Surprisingly, as you said, he's 6th in final blows for the league and limbs per 10 minutes. But Monty, the matchup everyone is looking forward to in this battle, let's be serious. It's the main tanks, right? You got Fissure going up against Gesture here. Who has the edge?
It's true. The storyline is too good. I think that in this meta, where it is more difficult versus a Sombra to sort of make the most out of your Primal Rages because you run a real risk of being hacked, that I would give it to Gesture, who's more of a zone control tank rather than an aggressive diving tank. And Gesture is still, I think, the best tank that we have in Overwatch League, and he may not be as flashy as Fissure, but he provides more peeling for his team.
Fissure got the best of Gesture in their Stage 2 matchup, in part thanks to some extra motivation from facing the team that traded him. Now, he spoke with both players to find out which team will prevail this time around and who they think is currently the better main tank.
Put your hands together for the London Spitfire. Their opponents, the Los Angeles Gladiators.
Yeah, very special game for Fissure, as he used to be working alongside the guys from the London Spitfire. Now he's on the other side.
뭐 스테이지 2 때 제가 비록 런던이랑 붙었을 때는 저도 제가 엄청나게 좋은 선수라는 거를 보여주기 위해서 정말 많이 노력했었고.
It's Fissure just making a statement, putting him in this place, saying it was you who should have been traded.
전에 저희가 글래디에이터즈한테 졌는데 이제 그때 느낀 게 확실히 피셔 선수가 들어가고 나서 글래디에이터즈가 많이 성장을 해서 지게 됐구나라고 느끼게 됐어요.
I can't believe it. Shields up and the Gladiators have won the series.
그러니까 이제 피셔 선수는 아무래도 게임을 이제 경기를 많이 보신 분들이면 아시다시피 좀 공격적으로 이게 상대를 먼저 잡아서 이기려고 하는 성향이 좀 있는 선수고, 저 같은 경우는 이제 게임을 천천히 풀어나가다가 이제 약간 좀 타이밍이 좋다라고 느끼는 타이밍에 상대 팀을 잡아서 죽이는 걸 좋아해요.
It's an arcade of death for Gesture.
Oh man, how many tickets do you get for this?
제스처 형은 최고의 멘탱커죠. 제가 같이 해보면서 느낀 건데 정말 배울 게 많은 형이었고, 일단 기본적으로 사람이 좋아요. 사람이 되게 좋고.
Gesture, this man is an absolute boss. He goes all out. He knows that he's one of the best tanks in the league.
제가 생각하기에 저의 이제 피셔 선수보다 나은 점이라면 저는 어떤 조합을 함에 있어서 이제 플레이 스타일을 좀 유동적으로 조금 더 잘 바꿀 수 있다고 생각을 하고.
Boom! Zumba is gone, deleted immediately. That's big. Jaehong eventually goes down.
제가 최고인 분야가 있어요. 그러니까 제가 최고인 메인 탱커 쪽에서 제가 돌진은 제일 잘 뛴다고 생각해요. 어떤 윈디겐트를 쓰는 윈스턴보다 제가 더 빠르게 뛸 수 있고 제가 더 확실하게 킬각을 잘 노린다고 생각할 수 있는데.
Oh no, he's gone! He's got another jump. He gets knocked back, barraged in. This is a bit ballsy. Fissure takes him down. Nobody doesn't like Fissure.
이제 우리가 글래디에이터즈전에서 좀 방심 아닌 방심을 해서 좀 무기력하게 지게 됐었는데, 이번에는 좀 더 열심히 생각을 해가지고 좀 더 경기 재밌게 할 수 있도록 하고.
If there's anyone who knows Gesture's weaknesses, it is Fissure and vice versa. So it'll be very interesting.
재밌게 해봅시다. 우리 이게 재밌는 경기. 저는 발리언트.
Taking a look at their Stage 3 performances so far, Fissure has the upper hand on Gesture in hero damage, eliminations, and final blows. But as Gesture mentions, Fissure is the more aggressive tank, and we'll see who gets the upper hand on Thursday. London has made the playoffs in each of the first 2 stages, and something we haven't talked about much here on Watchpoint is the change that will be affecting our upcoming Stage 3 title matches. And that's where we begin today's 6-stack. In Stage 1 and 2, we saw 3 teams battle for the stage title, but moving forward, that expands to 4 teams. So we'll have 2 semi-final matches before the stage championship match, and the top seed get to select their first round opponent. So Doa, what are your thoughts on the new format? Pretty cool, right?
Oh man, I am so psyched about this. I love it. You know, I mean, I did a lot of esports casting in Korea. One of the staples of tournaments over there is that a lot of times opponents get to pick who they play against. It creates all sorts of like fun drama, great trash talking, great moments. Rivalries are created this way. So I think it's going to bring like an incredible amount of excitement to the stage playoffs now. I think it's a massive, massive improvement.
The more the merrier for me.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go on to number 2. The Shock looked great in week 3, taking out Dallas Fuel and a tired Philadelphia Fusion. They're in 4th place currently in Stage 3, so as of today, they would qualify for the Stage 3 title matches. With 2 weeks left to play, Mr. X Can the Shock make it?
I think for the Shock, it's going to come down to the wire. I think obviously they need to finish 6-4 or better, and then they have to hope. Houston, the Valiant, and the Gladiators have a lot of tough games. If those start to split between them, I think the Shock can make it. It's going to be very tough, though.
Gonna need some help. At number 3, the Fusion lost a tough 5-map match to New York last Thursday night. Then they lost again when they had to play San Francisco in the very first match of Friday. So, Monty, let's talk about this squad. Were their troubles last week strictly due to the schedule?
I don't think you can say that it's strictly due to the schedule, but we can say that they probably would have lost to Philadelphia if Philadelphia had had an extra day to prepare. I imagine the Fusion were focusing most of their energies on New York. There's probably a morale hit after getting reverse swept again for the second time in a row, and the Shock have been improving, so you can't really sleep on them any longer. I think that if Philadelphia plays them a day later, that result changes.
No more sweeps for me. Halfway through the 6 stack, and at number 4, it's more drama for the Dallas Fuel. Effect returned to South Korea following the team's 2 losses in week 3. No word on how long he's going to be out there. So in his absence, Doa, who should the Fuel run on DPS?
I mean, this is a tough one. This is just like yet another issue for the Dallas Fuel to have to deal with that's outside the game. I feel nothing but sorrow for these guys at having to put up with this. But I guess you have to go with AKM and Seagull. I mean, Seagull's been playing only off tank for a long time, so who knows where he's at DPS-wise and how they're going to fit that on the team. But, I think at this point you kind of have to bring him in and hope for the best. But good luck, Dallas.
Go back to the old Seagull bag of tricks there.
Real positive message there, Noah.
Number 5, Boston's undefeated and leads the Stage 3 standings. They've beaten New York and London and Seoul in the past 2 weeks and are now in 2nd place in the overall standings. That's ridiculous. They look pretty invincible right now, Monty. So what's the Uprising's biggest weakness?
What do you mean they look pretty invincible? I disagree with that entirely. They've played 3-2 matches for almost all of their games so far, and they even went 3-2 against the Florida Mayhem.
How many did they lose?
This is a team, they haven't lost any yet, but this is a team that's really riding on the edge right now, and I think it's just a matter of time. They play the Gladiators, they play the Valiant. I think they drop one of those matches, go 9-1 on this.
Invincible in Game 5s for me. All right, the 6th and final question. Everyone loves seeing the big boss enter the matchup for the NYXL, and their map record with Pine in the lineup is 11-1 compared to 10-8 with Libero in the lineup this stage. So, Mr. XL, should the Excelsior play the big boss in more maps?
Absolutely they should. With how dominant his Widowmaker is, you definitely want him in the lineup. But you also, you keep Janice in for some games, you keep Libero in for some games, you mix it up a little bit. Not a lot of footage for people to look on for the NYXL. A lot of good footage to figure out what they're going to be doing later in the season. I think you keep mixing that lineup up going forward. And not a lot of game tape for people to watch, figure your stuff out.
I like that call. New York has a comfortable 5-match lead in the overall standings. And one of the driving forces behind their Overwatch League dominance is the stellar support play of Arc. Arc sat down with Malik Forte for the latest installment of On Point.
Arc, how are you doing, man?
Good.
Doing good. I'm glad that you came all nice and comfortable. You got the sandals on and stuff. All right, man. So let's talk about what's going on with you, man. NYXL, you guys are the top dogs in the league right now. You're regarded as one of the best support players, one of the best Mercy players in the league. Do you feel that there's a lot of pressure on you guys to maintain this now?
We actually haven't got that much lost, and we have some gaps between the number 2, I guess. So we're not feeling that much pressure about it, but it is more competitive for every team, I guess.
It's a sleep down from Arc. Perfect shot down there. Arc was just so ridiculous with these sleeps. He slept more opponents than the times he died.
In terms of support players, is there anybody that you look at and you go like, this guy's really good, I should take some inspiration from what he's doing?
Yeah, I'm the one who is playing the really different style from any other Mercies.
You're the innovator.
Yeah, so I just tried to
Hey man, talk your talk. Just say it. It is what it is.
So I just tried to investigate myself.
Would you say there's any type of rivalry between NYXL, the London Spitfire, and Seoul Dynasty?
I think we had some rivalry between London until stage 2, but they failed to come into the stage final. So I think it kind of broken.
You guys are take us back to that. You were pretty salty when they beat you guys in that first stage championship, right?
London Spitfire, Stage 1 champions.
Like literally, I couldn't sleep like 3 days or something because of it.
Wow.
Like, I was so angry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After you guys won the Stage 2 title match, did you like take your winnings and go treat yourself to something? Did you celebrate it all?
We actually got like sushi, and it just cost so lot that like I think
You splurged a little bit.
I think it was like $1,000, I guess.
Wow,
Yeah.
what? What? Okay. You guys are doing it big then.
Yeah.
Big balling. I can't be mad at it. Hey, you guys won a lot of money.
And the NYXL stand finally at the top.
What would be your tips for anybody who plays Mercy out there? What would be some like must-know things for them to do?
I think like the most important thing is they should know like almost every player's position, including enemies and our team. I think that's the key point, I guess.
Have you had any crazy fan interaction? I know you guys took a team trip to New York.
That was really crazy. I didn't expect that much fans would come to the meet and greet.
Yeah, I love the NYXL fans.
People were waiting for the line for like 1 or 2 hours only to get an autograph, and I just cannot believe it. Like it feels like we're becoming a superstar or something.
You know, we're already more than halfway through the season. You guys are at the top of the league. What would be the picture-perfect ending to this season for you guys?
It doesn't depend on the stage final anymore, because like after like 2 or 3 years later, people will only remember the season finals winners. So it's also good if you could win the stage finals, but for me, I think season finals is more important.
That's what's more important to you.
Yeah.
Well, Ark, you guys have been killing it, man. Thank you so much for sitting down
Thank you
and
very
chatting
much.
with us, man.
One of the most valuable traits a support can have is staying alive to heal his team. As you can see, Ark just doesn't die much. He's also dishing out the 3rd most Mercy healing in this stage, and because he's keeping his teammates alive, he doesn't need to rack up those reses. What does the future hold? It's a common question here at Watchpoint, but luckily we found a way to reach into the future to bring back some future headlines. You wish, Monty. You wish. First up from the Overwatch Gazette Journal-Times, Perfection Uprising finished Stage 3 10-0. This is the Sunday, May 6th edition. So the article goes on to speculate about their chances in the stage title matches. Monty, are you buying the headline 10-0?
No.
No.
As I said earlier, I think that this is a team that will do very well this coming week and then lose to either the Gladiators or the Valiant in the final week. A lot of these matches have been just razor close. When they played against London, when they played against Seoul, these could have easily gone the other way, and I think it's going to come back to bite them. But I do think 9-1, potential first seed, these are still options.
Yeah, I think you're looking at 9-1. I think it's so hard to go undefeated through a stage, and especially, I mean, they could already have losses with how some of those game 5s have gone.
Sure.
I think eventually one of them just may not go their way. I think putting together a 9-1 stage, though, is something to be pretty proud about, though.
Yeah, especially if you look at the opponents they've got in the next 2 weeks, seems reasonable.
Perfection. I expected. You're invincible, guys. All right, up next, we got one from May 7th. This is from the highly subscribed to magazine Watchpoint Weekly, and the cover story is Architect building a contender. The Shock's new leader dishes on becoming the league's most damaging Widowmaker and leading his team to a Stage 3 title. So, Doa, could this be possible? Could this be a cover story in a few weeks?
I feel like Architect needs to look out behind him, man. That's kind of sinister. He's like having a great day and Widowmaker's just standing behind him looking angry. I'd be worried if I were Architect. But I wouldn't be worried if I was a San Francisco Shock. Architect is a great Widow. But I will say this. I don't agree with that headline because we've got so many good Widowmakers in the league right now. Surefour's popping off right now. Do I even need to mention Pine? Like, the guy is amazing, right? Soon is playing really well. So I think Architect had a really hot start, no doubt about it. But, you know, will he keep it up? With all the other good Widows in the league, I don't think we can call him the best.
I think he can turn into one of the best Widowmakers in the league, and I think Stage 3 title matches may be tough. I would not be shocked if the San Francisco Shock were in the Stage 4 title matches, though, right? You know, you figured out a lineup here with Dante and Sinatra and Architect. I think you can make things work in the future.
I think that if this was a year from now and we were talking about San Francisco as a possible Stage 3 title contender for the next season, Season 2, that's where it becomes a lot more reasonable. But I think until Architect fully integrates with learning English, integrates with the rest of his team when it comes to teamwork. It's just going to take time for the Shock, and they know that. This was never a team that was never built for Season 1 in the first place.
It's a team that if the next stage goes into like a triple tank, you could have Nomi come in to play main tank. Super has a really good Roadhog, and then you put Sinatra in on Zarya. We know what he can do on Zarya. They can make a bit of noise, I think.
So future headlines possible.
Yes.
Not coming.
We didn't go far enough. More future than our.
Understood. All right. Well, this next one, guys, it's an all-important Reddit thread from Overwatch TMZ.
Oh, no.
The headline is
Eric,
Dynasty crumbling internally after dropping out of the season playoff picture. This one is submitted 7 days from now by looking in the mirror. Wow, fantastic username. Mr. X,
It keeps getting worse.
are you giving up an upvote on this thread? What happens here?
I know this
Straight
is
down
going
vote?
this is going to upset Doa. I'm probably would upvote this. I don't think. I think they're going to fall out of the stage 3 playoff picture. They need to be legitimately worried about the overall playoff picture.
Yeah.
That's what I think they need to worry about. Right now, they have that number 2 spot just because they're the top in the Pacific Division. If the Valiant go on a run the rest of this stage, they're going to lose that, and things don't get easier for Seoul in stage 4.
I mean, you know, there's like the 5 stages of grief. I admit I'm still in the denial stage right now about Seoul Dynasty. Like I can't accept that they have kind of gotten to the place that they are at now. But
Sounds like we need to have another support group to move you along in the
I guess
stages
so.
of grief.
I think we'll
let the producers know.
Bring back Dr. Doa.
We'll talk you through this one, Dylan. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we got time for just one more, and it's a tweet from our trusty Watchpoint insider, Scoops McDowell. This future headline is from May 8th, just before the start of Stage 5. Houston Outlaws Jake to replace Mr. X as Uber Shout's casting partner for Stage 4, Week 1.
Come on, man.
X dealing with extreme sunburn after falling asleep by the pool during the bye week. Hashtag Mr. XPM.
If by that you mean he fell asleep in a tanning bed,
Yeah, I was
then
gonna
I would
say.
believe you.
That's where are you from again?
I'm from Long Island.
Long Island, baby.
Where are you from?
I'm from Wisconsin. Nobody has a
Bro,
tan
I wouldn't
there.
let that happen. I wouldn't let that happen. I think Jake would be better on the desk, though. Get Brent out of there.
I think the real question
messing with you,
is
Brent.
if Jake
There you go.
comes in, does Uber even have any time to talk during the match at all? That would be
man.
my question because I've seen him in the comms and I
People
don't
would
think
be
anyone else
desperate
is
to
saying
battle.
anything.
You would want me to just come back with either of them and just be
Whenever
silent.
we're ready,
Just let
we'll fire
one of them
somebody
talk.
and make
You
room
take a
for
break,
you.
just go
Whenever
to
you're
grief
ready,
for
buddy.
a
That's going to do it for our future headlines.
이전에는 그냥 평범하게 공부하면서 저는 경찰이 꿈이었거든요. 근데 그 취미로 게임도 많이 해왔었어요. FPS 게임도. 그러면서 여러 가지 팀 테스트를 다 보고 다녔는데 대부분 다 통과를 했거든요. 한 번만에. 그래서 그때부터 이제 아, 나는 이것에 대해 재능이 있구나 어느 정도.
Hey, that's a new face on the Florida Mayhem bench. That's right, Saya player coming in for Logic's.
리그에 오는 게 꿈이라고 물으시면 정말 꿈이었죠. 정말 꿈이었고 꿈을 어느 정도는 이룬 거라 봐야죠.
Going down. Maybe they've got a chance. Nice stick on to Pine. Saya player making his presence felt here.
인게임에서는 전부 영어로 하고요. 게임 용어다 보니까 사실상 그렇게 많이 변하진 않거든요. 범위 내에서. 그래서 게임 내 소통에서는 크게 문제 없는 것 같아요.
Nice one, guys. Nice one. Nice one.
로직스 선수한테 배운 것은 트레이서 운용법, 이제 좀 더 안전하게.
Saya player walking forward like a vengeful Ronald McDonald, just wiping people off the map.
TV한테서는 사실 플렉스라서 좀 많이 다른데 전체적인 팀 플레이 할 때
London Spitfire in a tight spot. Tavega's just running amok.
그날 경기가 딱 잡히면은 그 팀에 있는 히트스캔 선수에 대해서 특징을 좀 파악하거든요. 제가 이전에 대회에서 했던 플레이들 있잖아요. 그거를 좀 다르게 플레이하고 그런 식으로 하고 있어요.
Saya player is definitely making a great first impression in a short amount of time. His sniping ability on Widowmaker is top tier as he's ranked second in the league in solo eliminations and third in critical hit accuracy so far. We'll see if Saya and the rest of the Florida squad can build on their win total as they take on Dallas Wednesday. But before I ask the fine gentlemen here with their Week 4 predictions, let's get a quick update on the overall season standings because we had some big moves, Monty.
That's your boy.
Well. Well, what do we have here? Boy, I wish I never had to hear that again. Mr. X somehow caught up with the elusive Monte Cristo for the first time since stage 1.
I took some
We
risks.
got them both tied at 120.
Reasonable.
Doa slipping down
What
to
you doing down there, Noah?
118. Still in the running, though.
I'm closer to first place than I was before, and as the only non-analyst on the desk, I feel pretty good about where I'm at.
All right,
Jay-Hung's real helping you out
Let's see
there.
what's
Noah.
going on this week. We'll see if Doa can make any moves. On Wednesday, you all have the red-hot Boston Uprising up and over the wingless Dragons. The Florida Mayhem defeating the struggling Fuel, but Monty's trying to pull ahead, taking Houston over a strong LA Valiant squad. Monty, defend your Outlaws pick against Mr. X at our first 30-second showdown.
This I actually found to be the toughest match to pick all week.
Yeah,
I was
I
kind of
think it is
torn
gonna be
between these
difficult.
two teams of who would win between the Valiant
Wait, you're agreeing.
and the
Stop
Outlaws. No, but I'm going to take the Valiant. I think their aggressive play style is going to give the Outlaws some trouble. I think with some of the numbers we saw from Linkser earlier, I think Soon can win that. And then if they try and fall back and be aggressive, that's where I think you can have bunny play and really take advantage.
I think that this is going to be a Houston Outlaws win. Maps are great for Houston. If Valiant continue to run Agilities and Soon on these assault maps, I think that's going to be a free win for Houston. We've got Blizzard World and Junkertown in. Jake Rat on Jakertown sealing the deal for the Houston
That
Outlaws.
series could legitimately go either way.
I like Doa heckling Matt while picking the same team. On Thursday, everyone has the NYXL, but Doa is looking to make a move on Monty and Mr. X. He's taking the Spitfire over the Gladiators to gain a point on X, and Soul over the Fusion to gain a 1 on Monty. So Doa, defend yourself. I want to hear this one against Monta. 30 seconds. Why the Dynasty?
You know, I just feel like they can dig real deep and put Jae-Hong in and just win a match. I don't know what's going on with my beloved boys in gold and black, but it's been a tough stage.
So
Hashtag no bias.
Seoul Dynasty is now 4-6 in their last 10. They've only beaten the Fuel, Dragons, Shock, and Mayhem. I think that Philly it's their first match of the week. They're going to be super prepared for this one. And Seoul, they're sort of down and out right now. Philly's going to be hungry to get back up into the top of the standings. And just for you, Doa, I have to break it to you. That dream is dead. Lunatic High is gone.
Once I saw
They're
those
not gonna win.
predictions, Monty took about 3 minutes to prep for this head-to-head. He's like, easy. He's like,
I love it. I love it. Well, Doa,
Hey, when I'm right next week,
you have
it's
a
going to be
chance
really
catch
funny
up,
on the next
right?
one.
It's going to happen.
Yeah,
It's going to happen.
I'm still close. Like I said, non-analyst, I'm happy.
We'll see how it all plays out. That's going to do it for MLG's Watchpoint coverage. Make sure you check out Week 4. It begins Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on OverwatchLeague.com. And, of course, the Overwatch League app. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.